Hello, chefs. This is Chef's PSA Podcast. I'm your host, André Natera. On today's episode, my guest is Anastacia Quiñones. She's a multiple-time James Beard Award nominee out of Dallas, Texas. She's a very good friend of mine. I've known her for a long time. I've done dinners together with her, and I've cracked a lot of jokes with her. We're going to have a great conversation talking about how to create your own identity, staying true to your brand. We're going to get into food trends a little bit and more. Stay tuned. How have they changed over the last 20 years?
I think when I first started cooking, or like after I graduated, I think a lot of people were really into, like the neighborhood bistro.
Yeah.
It was really popular, especially in Dallas.
When was this? Like, when did you?
2004, 2005.
And you went to CIA?
Yeah.
Yeah. New York?
Yes.
Huh.
And then I think when I came home, I was just like, you're taught to cook all this fancy, really pretty, delicate food. And I get home and I'm like, oh my God, it's the fanciest thing on this plate is a lemon that's covered with like a yellow sheath thing. And, people were like, this is so cool. You just squeeze it. There's no seeds. That's so cool. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is it. This is what I have to look forward to. But then when I look back on that now, I'm like, that's what people want. They want the neighborhood bistro feel, casual. They don't want, a $80 entree.
Yeah.
I think there's a time and a place for that, but I think people are gravitating more towards those like restaurant bistro vibes.
So when you first started cooking, what was the vibe? It was like, so I know you said bistro, but it was like very back then we called it continental, right?
Continental.
So continental. It was like Mediterranean,
Yes.
French,
Yeah.
Italian,
Yeah.
heavy influence, and food has definitely evolved. So I was talking with someone the other day, and they kind of made a joke, but it was so true. It was like the fucking truest statement ever. It's like when we used to put parsley on the rim back in the day. Yeah. Today's version of parsley on the rim is a white sauce broken with green oil. That's today's parsley on the rim.
You're gonna name something that I'm doing. I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
No. But that's today's parsley on the rim is the white sauce, because we there's this like we're all kind of that's what's gonna go viral. Parsley on the rim would have went viral back in the day. Like
it would have totally.
Yeah.
I think we all did the white sauce with the.
I did
with the green.
I still do it.
I have it in my back pocket for sure. Like,
if I need some Instagram likes, I'm going to my white sauce with green dots in it. Yeah.
If you want the shares and the likes and the reposts, it's definitely one to keep in your back pocket.
Also like fish dishes. I was on Instagram the other day. It's funny because, by the way, I love me a good crudo and I love me a good ceviche. I love it.
Loves a good.
I love it. But I was on Instagram the other day because I've been complaining a lot how all the food looks the same, and I was on Instagram and I was scrolling on like the food section. You go to the Explore page and you can see all the food. And it's like my food Explorer page was like, ceviche, duck, hot girl dance. Ceviche, like what? But it was the same thing, like a crudo, or it was like some sliced fish with garnish, with the occasional different type of protein, and then the occasional hot girl. Why is she on my feed? I don't know.
Instagram's smart.
It's trying to get me to look at that. I don't want to look at that.
It's trained to think like you.
No, it's trying to convince me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the back pocket dish. I think it's something that can easily be manipulated to the season, to what's current, to your cuisine.
Yeah.
And so I think people use that as kind of like their back pocket dish.
And it's pretty.
It's pretty and it's affordable and it's delicious. There's so many types of flavor combinations that work really well.
Yeah. I know you love it. I'm not gonna I'm knocking it, but I also put it on every single menu.
Yeah.
Right. I love to eat it if I go somewhere. It's like I do enjoy a beautiful crudo. I like ceviche. I mean, I love Mexican shrimp cocktail. I know it's not the same thing, but it's probably not like if I go to a Mexican restaurant, do you have good Mexican shrimp cocktail?
Yeah.
That's what I get. What do you get?
I don't eat at Mexican restaurants. I don't. I mean, if I'm going to eat at a Mexican restaurant, it's going to be like a total hole in the wall, like típicos, which is like menudo on the weekends.
Yeah. Do you eat menudo with tortillas or bread?
Tortillas.
Some people do it with bread. Like where I'm from in El Paso, they do it with bread.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Like not everyone needs it with tortillas.
No, because then you get the tortilla and you put the salt and the lime and you roll it up and you dip and eat. Like, you can't do that with bread.
Yeah, you do bolillo bread and you toast it up and you dip it in the menudo.
I mean, cada quien,
It's regional.
Yes, cada quien. But I think if I'm going to eat Mexican food, it's going to be at home.
Yeah.
Or in my restaurant. Or like it's super hole in the wall. Like, I just don't go out looking for high-end Mexican restaurant, which is super horrible of me to say because that's what I love and it's my passion. But sometimes I want a night off from that. I do love to support those types of restaurants, like, the ones here locally. Now that, I'm here in Austin, like, who am I going to go visit? Like, because there's so many really great, regional Mexican, not higher end, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
they're all here.
They're not hole in the walls. But when I'm at home, like, it's just not something that I really gravitate towards.
What is the difference between what the Mexican food that you cook for yourself and your family at home versus what you serve in the restaurant? Like, so that's question number one, and then I have a follow-up question to that. So what's the biggest difference between what you're cooking at home for your loved ones when you're going all out? Not like here's an egg on some tortillas, but like when you're going all out to make food for your family at home versus when you're going all out in the restaurant.
I think at home I don't have a dishwasher. Like a physical person that stands over my dish pit.
Yeah.
So it's a one pot thing. So it's a guiso, it's a sopa, sopita, something that I can throw in a pot and
braise it,
or calabacitas or conchitas, something super fast, or carne asada.
Yeah.
But at home, it's different. Like, I really want people to understand that the food in the restaurants that you eat in Mexico are it's not Tex-Mex. And Tex-Mex has its own space, I think. And I love, I crave Tex-Mex. I love Tex-Mex. But it's very different. And so I try to make it very different so that there's no confusion as to what I do and what we eat at a Tex-Mex restaurant.
So you're cooking Mexican food?
If you want to call it that, I'm Mexican and I use Mexican ingredients. But I don't know that I would call it authentic. I know you didn't say that. But I think a lot of people think because I make a mole or because I make a guiso or a taco that it's like authentic Mexican food. But I don't like to call it that. And I don't like to call it my interpretation. It's just food that I like to make that I think tastes good, that happens to be seasonal and sometimes local. When people go out to eat in Mexico, they don't say, where's the best Mexican food tonight? Let's go get Mexican food. They just say, I want to go to a restaurant. I want to go eat. The chef just happens to be Mexican and he happens to use Mexican ingredients. And I think that's just the food that I like to cook.
But there's some familiarity, right? There's some familiarity in the cooking technique, or I'm just kind of making this up. Like you know that there's going to be maybe there's a mole. It might not be the mole that you're used to, but there's going to be a mole, or there might be something with tortillas, or a quesadilla or something.
Yeah, I think for me, it's important to say that I want to represent Mexican technique and Mexican ingredients, but it doesn't have to be authentic.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it.
But it's authentic to you.
Sometimes.
Like when I say it's authentic to you, like, is it authentic to you in terms of like, this is what I would make at home? Or this
not
is
at the restaurant.
No,
not at the restaurant. I think at the restaurant, it's important for people to see this type of cuisine in an elevated state, and it doesn't have to be street food, and it doesn't have to be dirt cheap.
You don't serve crudos at home?
No, my husband for me, like, that's a good question. Why don't you serve crudos at home?
Where's your ceviche at home?
No, I don't. With our busy lifestyles and our tiny kitchen, and I don't have a dishwasher.
Yeah.
No, there's no crudos at home.
Yeah. It's funny. I like when I cook, because I don't cook a lot of I didn't grow up cooking Mexican food,
Same, yeah.
When I say, I mean, at home I did. But I mean in the kitchen, like a professional restaurant. I was cooking continental cuisine, European, Italian, whatever, right? I was getting, I always joke around, say I was Mexican before, like, it was too late. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like when Mexican food started becoming cool, I was like, fuck, I've already invested 25 years into
Yeah, we've had that conversation before.
And it's like,
you would have been really good at that.
I would have been. It was kind of frowned upon. The only people that were really cooking Mexican food at the time was like Rick Bayless.
We're white guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it was Rick Bayless, and I'm trying to think who else was really doing Mexican food in the U.S. Mark Miller,
Stephen Piles, Steve
Stephen Ferry. So all these, I mean, and they weren't
even then
even
it was
Mexican. It was like their version of it.
Southern, yeah.
I think Rick Bayless is probably the most traditional Mexican.
Yeah.
But it's like, there wasn't a lot of it. So for me, I just gravitated towards this because I didn't feel like I had, like, my culture had a voice in the haute cuisine world, right?
Sure.
So I was cooking Italian, this, that, the other. And then when it finally like, okay, now you could really cook your Mexican food, I could do what I want. It's like, well, I'm already kind of winding down my career.
Yeah.
Like I also feel like if I would have gone that route, people would be like, this sucker.
Back to your like statement or question about like how it's changed in 20 years. Look at us now.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how many talented Latino chefs there are, you know, not just winning awards, like that's great, but like breaking barriers and, you know, serving things that you wouldn't have seen 20 years ago on a menu. You wouldn't have seen 3 different types of mole. You wouldn't have seen nixtamalized corn tortillas or sopes or tetelas or manchamanteles. Like those things are now everyday words for some Americans, whereas 20 years ago, like you said, it was almost frowned upon to be cooking this type of cuisine. And now it's like, look at us now.
I wouldn't say it was frowned upon. It was like they just wouldn't take you serious. And, you know, we were in Dallas roughly at the same time.
Yeah.
Like when I was there, you were doing your thing. I was doing my thing, but I wasn't doing Mexican food.
No, neither was I.
Right, neither were you. And
I was doing ahi tuna nachos.
So was I. We were all doing ahi tuna nachos with the crema.
Yeah, avocado crema.
Avocado crema.
Get it right.
Yeah. But it's just wild to see how today chefs can really express themselves with Mexican.
I love it.
I love it. Like, I mean, what the guys at Michelin are doing, or, you know, Gabe's doing these pop-ups and everything.
Oh my God, that freaking pop-up that he did. It was stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like every single dish knocked it out the park. It was sensational. Like I'm super proud of what he's doing and the food.
And it's for a good cause. Like
I know, yeah.
Everything that he's doing, yeah.
Yeah. It was excellent. It was really, really good.
Do you think going back to when we were coming up in the kitchen, you also saw it was kind of frowned upon to, like, there's a lot of types of cuisine now that you could express yourself through that back then it was like people were going to kind of look at you with two heads.
Yeah.
If you were going to cook anything truly authentic. And I think what's great about today's industry, the industry today, is that not only could you be very authentic, but you could also be very expressive, like kind of like what you're talking about. Like it's not authentic, but it's you.
Yeah.
It's your food and you're expressing yourself and this is what you want to do. And I don't think there's any judgment behind that now. Like, I don't think anyone's saying, oh, you're not cooking French. I don't think I've heard that in 10 years.
No, I think we owe a lot to social media and travel. I think a lot of people are getting outside of just like going to Paris and going to Mexico. I think a lot of people are traveling more. And I think social media is really promoting, you know, different worldly cuisines, and it's helping people open their eyes to other things, and people just taking risks. Honestly, landlords taking risks on young entrepreneurs that want to put their voice on something, and really, really taking risks and helping everybody promote different types of cuisines.
What was like the biggest thing when kitchen culture wise that you saw when you first started cooking that's different today? But besides the obvious,
boys, I think I had to be really hard in the beginning because of the environment that I was kind of raised in.
You went straight to San Francisco, right?
I graduated in January 2005 and I moved in February of 2005. I drove there with $700 in my pocket across the country to I lived in Santa Cruz with my roommate's parents for a little bit. And then
that's crazy. You drove.
Yeah, we drove from Santa Cruz to San Francisco while I was looking for jobs in an SUV. Who has an SUV with Texas plates in San Francisco? So I'm like driving up these fucking hills. I can't see the tip of my car, and I'm like freaking out. I'm 25 years old. I was 24 at the time. 24 years old in a Ford Expedition. Like, what did I do? What am I doing? There's no parking anywhere. I'm a Dallas girl. Like, where's valet? Where's parking lots? Nothing. But it was, I mean, I say I grew up in Dallas, but I was raised in San Francisco, in California, because I learned about, you know, seasonal cuisine. There's no real seasons in Dallas when it comes to produce at that time. Mm-hmm. And I grew up learning about organic and local produce. And it was such a it played such a huge role in what made me want to become a chef. but the boys, it was really the boys that were, that has changed a lot. Like women just were not.
How many females were in the kitchen when you
I
started?
was the first line cook.
Oh, wow.
I was the only line cook at the time at this particular restaurant. I was on pantry with two other females, but they didn't make it up to the line. When I finally made it up to the line, it was difficult.
Yeah.
I'll never forget at this restaurant. The chef was not the nicest, but he didn't really give me a lot of crap. He just didn't want me to move up. And so it's a French brigade system. And so you have your hot apps, and then you have your entremetier for fish, and then you have fish, and then you have your entremetier for meat. I made it all the way up to entremetier for meat, but I could never get on the meat station. And it was weeks and months. And I'm like, man, what's going on? So I did an event with the chef, and she asked me, she's like, so what do you do there? What do you like doing? And I said, I really want to work meat station, but chef he won't put me on the line. I don't know why. We got back from the event and I come into work the next day and I go to look at the schedule and he's standing right next to me. And my eyes just were like wide open. I'm like, oh shit, it's in red, which means I'm on me.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing like the chef talked to him.
Sure.
And he nudges me and he's like, don't fuck this up. And I was like, oh man.
Did you fuck it up?
I didn't.
Oh, good.
I didn't. But I would not have had to had that conversation or that interaction today. Because his words exactly were no female chef or no female cook has ever successfully worked that station. Well, that had nothing to do with me, and so when I think the chef mentioned something, I mean, obviously there was some sort of transaction or, and it was fine and everything was okay, but having to, and other things, I mean, so many other things like bending over in the walk-in, God forbid you bend over in the walk-in. Yeah. Things like that, they just don't happen. Not in my kitchens. Yeah. And the tolerance for it, Yeah,
the kitchens were so different back then, and the rules were different. And we were probably cooking at the same time. I think I'm about 5 or 10 years ahead of you because I started cooking in '95. And I remember one of the chefs that I worked under wouldn't hire females. And he had a policy like we don't want those problems. That was his thing. Like we just don't want those problems.
We're so problematic.
No, but he didn't know what he was trying to say is not those that they brought is the boy and girl problems. He didn't want to deal with boys and girls working commingling and co-ed. Like he's like, no, it doesn't work. He's like, because the boys end up and he's like, nope, I just don't want to deal with it.
That's crazy.
No girls in the kitchen, and no one batted an eye.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, it was like, yeah, okay, that's what chef says.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. No one thought twice. I remember I was on the board of the culinary school in Dallas. And I remember that I had to go teach or something like that, like do a presentation or whatever, right? And I remember I was walking through the halls because when I went to culinary school, like, let's just say, I'm making the number up, but let's just say 60 people were graduating. It was like 55 boys and 5 girls when I went to culinary school.
Yeah, that's
like that was
very similar to mine.
That was the ratio. But I remember when I went to the culinary school, and this is about 2007 to 2010, I remember looking at it like gradually the ratio of girls to boys was changing. And I remember looking at that, and I remember going back to my chefs, and I'm in Dallas at the time. And I remember going back, because I think I had like 3 females in the kitchen and 3 boys. Like I had a pretty,
You're so progressive.
I was so progressive back then. And I remember going back and telling my team, I said, watch, because it takes time.
Yeah.
I said, in about 10 years, you're going to have so many female executive chefs. In about 10 years, because they have to graduate, they have to work their way up, and then before you know it, you're going to have so many female exec chefs. So that was my prediction, like back then.
Yeah.
And I think you see it today. Like I think I don't want to say it's 50-50, but it's much more balanced.
It's about 50-50 in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's been that way for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it's not even about sex or age. Are you qualified? Can you do this job?
Can you cook?
That's all I care about. Can you take direction? And even if you can't cook, let me show you how to cook. Can you take direction? That's, to me, is almost more important. Are you going to be able to retain the information and take direction without like having an ego or a chip on your shoulder? That's almost more important to me than knowledge.
Yeah. When you're looking for good cooks on your team, what are you looking for?
Humility.
Yeah.
I need you to be humble. there's no egos in my kitchen or in my staff, even my staff, my future business partners. And we consult each other on everything. One is in charge of the bar. One is in charge of front of the house. I'm obviously in charge of the kitchen, but I don't make decisions without their approval. And I don't really need their approval. I just need their blessing, we call it. And, they both do the same. And I think that's why we work so well together, because we don't have egos. We respect each other's decisions. We don't always agree, but, we come to the table with all of our decisions, all of our emotions, all of our feelings, and it stays there. And we get up from the table, we walk away, and, we hug it out, or we shake hands and continue on about our day. But I think that's really important. Is know how to be humbled, because you're gonna get humbled.
Yeah.
When we have a 600-700 cover day, and you come in high on your horse, you're gonna get knocked down. Just be humble, because it's going to happen,
The best chefs fumble.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've seen some of the best chefs, the most successful, the ones that are on TV, the ones that are celebrities, like they crumble too.
Yeah.
Like it happens to the best. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
And when I haven't seen it happen, I know someone who worked for them that saw it happen.
Yeah. Or it's about to happen.
Yeah. Right.
Just be able to say, like, my bad, I fucked up.
Yeah.
I do it all the time when I'm on Expo. Like,
what do you do with, like, because I think about this often. And actually, it's a problem that I guarantee you, if I stepped into a kitchen today, I would have this problem. I'd be like burning the steak. Like, what do I do here? How do I baste it again? How do you deal with, because we all face it as when you're the executive chef or you're the chef de cuisine or, the chef owner. You get rusty and you haven't worked the line in a while. And then like something happens and you got to jump in, and then you make a mistake and the whole team sees you do something stupid.
Yeah.
How do you correct that? I mean, when was the last time that happened?
You make fun of it. You stay humble. Like, oh shit, my bad, guys. Nobody saw that. Or turn the cameras off, or, make fun of it. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't take myself too seriously when I'm on the line, and we play music and we joke around, and when it's time to be serious, we turn the Alexa down and we focus and lock in. But, I think if you can make fun of yourself and not take yourself too serious, no one cares. We all make mistakes.
No. And has it ever gotten to the point where, you have someone on the team that is maybe toxic, and like it's funny, people talk a lot about toxic chefs. I think there's just as many toxic cooks.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more, because that one toxic cook can ruin a whole group of cooks.
entire. I just had a conversation with my best friend, who's also a chef, and owner of her own restaurant. And she had some issues as well with that. I'm super fortunate that I don't interview the candidates for the cooks. I make my sous chefs do it.
Yeah.
Because they spend more time with them on the line than I ever will. So it's important for them to kind of vet them out for me. Once they pass them, then they'll get to me. And for me, it's just like, you're nice, you're sweet, let's go, or you're cheerful, and I'll teach you whatever you need to know. You don't have any experience, no worries. You're 75 and you want to make salads, let's go. But for me, it's important for them to interview them, because they can sniff it out pretty well.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate that most of my staff has been there for 2 years plus, so we haven't had much of that.
How do you like? I know we've talked about this, and we were kind of going down this path a little bit earlier. But how do you define like your own style so it's unique to you, and find your own creative voice in your food? And how have you done that? Because I
don't know. I mean, that's the question I should ask you.
But I see it. Like, if I see some food, I'll say that's AQ's food. I know your food. Like, I know it. Like, it has your thumbprint on it.
Yeah. I don't know. I would like to say that I'm still trying to figure that out 20 years later, because it's always changing. A lot of times most of the time it's seasonality. So like right now we're coming up on strawberry season. Monday we can go pick strawberries at one of my favorite farms, and I'm super excited about it.
What's your favorite farm for strawberries, by the way?
Damascus farm, Boyd, Texas.
They're good?
They're the best. I mean, they're amazing.
I might need some soon. So
we got 40 pounds, and it was backbreaking work, but I didn't do it. I brought a lot of young people with me so they could.
I can't bet.
That one right there. Don't forget that in the back. That one. No, they love it. It's a field trip for everybody, and they get to see like where their food comes from. Some of these people, they're city kids. They've never seen a strawberry patch. So my favorite time of the year. And we go out, we pick strawberries. And I look back at the dishes that I did last year and try to figure out, how can I evolve this dish? Is it an ingredient? Is it the plating? Is it the technique? What can I do? And it's really just sitting down and trying to figure it out. You know, sometimes it's cookbooks. Like I still love culinary artistry. Like I got that when I was in San Francisco, and it's after a while you start to kind of think like it. So you have to take a step back and figure it out on your own. But like The Matrix, I love The Matrix. It's such an intense, like cerebral book. But it really helps you kind of figure out flavor profiles.
I don't know The Matrix.
It tells you the chemical composition of an ingredient, like for example, the strawberry.
Okay.
And then it'll tell you why a strawberry pairs really well with mint. It'll give you the chemical composition of mint and why these things match and they go well together. And then it'll give you like 20 ingredients. And then that you can compose a dish. Now, not everybody can do that. If you have some experience with some of these ingredients, and you can compose a dish pretty quickly. So I'll use all of those kind of techniques.
It's interesting how food evolves because plating trends evolve very quickly. Like last year doesn't look like this year.
No.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Sometimes last week doesn't look like this week. Plating trends evolve fast. Flavor trends evolve a little slower.
Yes.
Right? Cooking trends evolve extremely slow.
Yeah.
Meaning like the newest thing we got was like a circulator.
Yeah, and
like we haven't.
And I just started doing that like 2 years ago.
Right?
I was super nervous, very like, ugh,
How do you do it?
electronics. Yeah. We just started doing it. So yeah, no, I totally agree.
So cooking moves slowly. Flavor moves a little faster. Plating moves very fast, right?
Yeah.
But individual style, sometimes you see that. Like I could go back and look at my career of food, and it's like it definitely doesn't look the same over the last 20 years.
And I don't think it should. You know, I think you should. Someone told me a very long time ago, in order to be successful, you have to be in a constant state of development. And that has stuck with me for a very long time. And right now, in order to stay relevant, you have to be in constant state of development.
Yeah.
For me personally, it's important to constantly be developing the next dish for myself. Not to compete with anything or anybody or the trends. I don't know that I ever want to really be on top of those trends, but I want to be better than the seasoned chef I was last season. You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, your food's great. I mean, I've always been a fan. I've loved cooking with you too. Like when we did a dinner together, it's like I love cooking and talking shit. And
it was so funny though too, because you were like, what am I doing? Like you were holding a baby for the first time. Am I doing this right? And it's like, bro, you've been cooking for so long.
What are you talking about? What was I
like so nervous? Like, what do I do with these?
With these hands like this?
It was so funny, and everybody was giving. That was a fun dinner. We need to do that.
I don't think I was that nervous.
No, I'm
You're probably exactly. It's like I was like, you know what it was? Is I'm used to working a certain way, and then sometimes when I get put in a different kitchen, it's like, how do you work here? I keep thinking about trying to adapt to how you guys
and nobody
work.
cares. Like there was the most humblest, like easygoing chefs ever.
It was
Nobody
good. It was a
cared.
good dinner.
It was so fun. It was so fun.
I feel like we've done a lot of dinners, but we always talk a lot of shit. I feel like I mean, I remember once you got mad at me because I brought up religion at it. I won't say it, but we got it, and you're like,
oh yeah,
and you're like, why would you bring that up?
Oh my god, we
so
were on a rooftop patio, like trying to have a good time, and I'm like, and then you left me there.
I stirred the pot. I
was like, what is happening? Why am I here? I was so pissed off at you. He's a good guy though.
Yeah, he is.
He's a good
You know,
guy.
it's funny. Like I think of all the stupid shit that like we probably. This for people listening, this podcast is extremely tame right now. I'm just telling you, like the shit that we talk,
Oh my god.
we talk mad shit, but I
Just
respect.
don't leak the
I
text.
respect it.
Don't leak the text
You were on my first show.
I was.
You were on my last. That it's not.
Was that during COVID?
Yeah, it was.
That was during COVID.
Yeah, you were on the last, and we were talking business, and it was a very serious interview.
It was a very serious interview.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It
like
was a serious time.
it was a serious time.
Scary, unknown, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I look at how far, and that was like, what, 5 years ago? It feels like yesterday.
Yeah.
It was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We
I
learned
would say 2020 was like last year.
What was interesting about COVID for me, because I was still a chef, I remember thinking like,
You're still a chef.
you're right. I am still a chef, but today,
A
you know what I work?
practicing
You know what I
chef.
worked on all day today? Ads.
Oh, nice.
Not like ad creative. So it's like when you say you're still a chef, it's like I know,
are.
but like I'm not working on chef stuff that much. Like the stuff that I work on day to day is not, it's not necessarily chef stuff. But I remember during COVID, I remember being on the phone with one of my chef friends who's extremely talented, like. And I remember we were like an award list had just come out, like I don't know if it was Food and Wine or Bon Appetit's Best New, whatever. And I remember thinking like it doesn't matter, all those restaurants are closing. Like none of them are open anymore.
Yeah.
And I promise you, like no one is looking at that. Like I remember I was like really nervous at the time. I was like, it put into perspective. Like I could give a fuck about the
Nobody cares.
awards.
Yeah.
Like I just want to be open.
Yeah, I just want to have business. I want my staff to have a job.
Right.
That was the saddest part. It was the post came up recently where we had to say goodbye to everybody. I mean, we had a meeting and we brought 68 people into the restaurant and we had to tell them to go home and we didn't know when they could come back. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And we served family meal because we had all this food. I mean, we were ramping up for a busy week. I think it was after Valentine's. It was right before spring. So it was like nice weather, you know. It was beautiful. We had all this food. We're ready for patio season. What were we going to do with all this food? So we just decided we're going to make it. We're just going to make family meal.
Yeah.
And we'll feed everybody until they stop coming or until they get sick. And so we had to-go boxes. And after a while, then to-go boxes skyrocketed. I don't know if you remember that. But it went from like 47
right.
bucks a case
Everyone
to
had
like 120
everyone
bucks
had
a
QR
case.
codes.
And nobody had to-go boxes.
That's right.
So then we had to tell our staff, bring your Tupperware, bring your Ziploc bags. And families would line up to get family meal once a day because they couldn't either afford to go to the grocery store or they were too scared to go to the grocery store. I mean, crazy times.
It was absolutely, when we were shutting down, we gave away like all the food. It's like, what are we going to do with it? Like, just take it.
Yeah.
Just take it. Like, let everyone take it. Like people didn't know where the next meal, like none of us knew. None of us knew what was going to happen next. And I just remember like so many restaurants are closing. Like I remember we had these group calls that were organized by all these chefs and like, what are we going to do? And everyone's panicking and everyone came together and thank God we're past that. But it was a really interesting time. And I could tell you during that time, there wasn't a food trend that mattered.
Nothing mattered. Surviving mattered.
Yeah.
No
one cared if your nasturtium was placed perfectly on the duck. You know what I mean? Like no one cared.
Yeah. I missed it. I remember like slapping rice and beans into a to-go and like just pushing them out because we were busy. I was essential as fuck. Like I had a t-shirt that said essential as fuck because I didn't get to stay at home and like chill and like what was it, minimize the curve. I had to work because we had to feed people and we were, I mean, very well supported by our community. Like our neighborhood really supported us.
I feel like Dallas bounced back pretty quick compared to other
Well, a lot of
cities.
people didn't close.
Yeah, because I remember like in Austin, you could lay down like on Cesar Chavez in the middle of the road. There was no one.
Yeah.
There was like the roads were empty because I was still going to work every day.
Yeah.
And I remember because I was doing that show, and I remember going to interview you in Dallas, and I remember I interviewed Tiffany I think at the same time,
Yeah.
not together, but the same day. It was part of the lineup, and I was at what does she have in the smaller one inside the
the chicken.
yes, Roots.
Roots.
Yeah, so I went to go eat at Roots at Tiffany Derry's place, and we were talking, and I just remember like, why is no one wearing masks here? Like, what's going on? The rules are different, and like now they're like, this is Dallas, no one gives a shit.
Yeah. Well, North Texas.
Yeah.
Dallas people were a little bit more conservative about it, but up North Texas.
But the city was
wide open.
way more alive than Austin was.
Yeah.
Like I feel like certain cities opened up quicker. Certain restaurants got to come back to life quicker. And then now it's almost like you don't see it anymore. Like as you go to a restaurant, there's still some like lingering arbitrage that we're dealing with in terms of the recovery of cooks. Because that was probably the biggest thing that we got hit with is like all the cooks went everywhere. And then when it was time to reopen, it's like, where do we go? You have any job you want is open.
Yeah.
Go anywhere.
Yeah.
Go anywhere.
true.
And then they're like, oh, I'll come back if you give me, can I get $3 more? No. Well, they said they'll give me $4.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you $4. But they said they'll give me $5.
We didn't, I didn't have that experience. We just, like I said, we're super lucky to have staff that is super loyal to us. And they stuck through it. And you know, a good majority of our staff is still with us.
If you're coming into the industry now because you've seen, the decade that you started, and then there was the decade that we just finished, and now we're in this new decade in the 2020s. And obviously kitchen culture has changed, food has changed. And coming in at each of those 3 points in time, you would need different, I don't want to say skills, but almost like a different mindset.
Yeah.
Coming in to be a line cook at all 3 of those eras. If you're coming in as a cook in 2025, right out of culinary school, what do you need to know? What's that advice that you're giving to that young cook?
I think it's more competitive now than it's ever been.
In what way?
I think everybody wants to be the next best thing, the next hottest chef. And, you know, I have the awards to blame for that, you know, good and bad. Out of those awards, there are going to be some really talented chefs that are come out of it, and it's going to weed out the bad ones. Mm-hmm. But I think keep your head down and just keep working, because you're not going to get it the first year. You're not going to get it the second year. Mm-hmm. You might not even get it the 5th year. But find yourself a chef that's going to give you the knowledge and that's not going to hold their cards close to their chest and tell you whatever you want to learn about. You know, and that was one thing that I didn't really have coming up in the game. Like, I didn't have a chef that I can come to and say, you know, why did you do that? Or and there was always like a retort, like a smart ass comment, or like,
because I'm the chef.
Yeah, because I do whatever the fuck I want. Why? Because my name, you see this name?
Yeah.
When you have your name here, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Until then, this is how we're going to do it. And it's like, oh,
you just
wanted to know
why you put a little lemon.
I just wanted to know what your technique on Brunoise was. Like, my bad. But yeah, find yourself a chef that's going to give you the knowledge, and like take a little bit of time of their day to give that to you. Like, if anytime I'm making something in the kitchen and someone comes up to me, like, I love that, because they want to absorb and they want to soak it up. And it's important for us as chefs, like, to teach the new class and not just be, this is mine, just look what I did, you know? Mm-hmm. I think that's the best advice, is just go with the kitchen or the chef where you think you're going to learn something, not because you're the best in the kitchen or, you know, they have all these fancy awards, because it's probably not going to be that restaurant, mm-hmm, you know? Mm-hmm.
And something else that I think people should consider is, a lot of times when you go to those restaurants that have a lot of awards, you might have no contact with the chef.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it's better to go into a place where you may have fewer awards, but the chef's there with you.
Yeah.
They're going to guide you, and they're going to coach you and mentor you.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be way more valuable than, than anything else, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
What else would you tell a young cook? 19 years old, graduating from CIA today. What else do they need to know?
19? Oh my God.
I don't know. How old are you when you graduate from CIA?
I was
20?
24.
Okay, so you're 24. You're graduating from CIA. Where do you tell them to go work?
Don't go home.
Yeah.
I would say don't go home. Travel. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if your home is LA or New York, like, travel and find out what other chefs in other states are doing, mm-hmm, if you can. I mean, it's not as cheap as it was in 2005 to live in San Francisco. But travel, don't go home, and stage if mm-hmm, you can. Mm-hmm.
Where do you sit on stages? So it's a hot topic. Mm-hmm. And maybe
I don't get a lot of stages just because of the staff that come to work for me. I do get some people that want to come stage, but I'm like, man, we're volume. Yeah. I don't know what you're really going to learn from me. And I'm not going to be on the line with you. You know, you're going to get, Giovanni, who's dancing on the line and speaking 98% of the calls in Spanish. Mm-hmm. And there's a good time. But I don't know. I think, I don't know. I don't, it's been a really long time. Mm-hmm. I recommend it if you really want to go to a restaurant that you want to experience something that you're probably not going to get to cook. Mm-hmm. I don't like that it's not paid. We pay our stages. Mm-hmm. We've had them in the past. But I don't know how I feel about free labor.
It's an interesting
I know how I feel about free labor. I don't care about it.
But let me ask you this, because I think the argument isn't a one size fits all. It's just my opinion. If you're a restaurant, right? Let's just say you're this fancy restaurant and you have no room. and someone comes to you and says, I want to learn from you. I'm like, I don't want to pay you. I don't want you here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, well, I want to learn from you, but I want you to pay me. It's like, well, there's no room.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's one situation that, okay, that goes into one bucket. Another bucket is we need to sustain our restaurant with 50 stages unpaid because we do food that's so difficult that we can't pull it off.
Crazy.
That's another conversation.
That's crazy.
Right. And then there's another conversation where it's like, it's a working interview. Well, then you should pay them. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a different type of stage, but I don't think they're all the same. And I would say, like, if Ferran Adria was coming and doing a dinner in Austin and someone said, he's looking for stages, I would say, well, is he going to pay me? You know what I mean? I wouldn't say that. I'd be like, I get to work with Ferran Adria. I'm going to take it. Like, I'll pay him. Right. So I do think that I think it's a more complicated conversation than like all stages are bad or, you know, there's some gray area.
I did a stage when I first moved back to Dallas, and I was telling you everybody wanted to work at the neighborhood bistro. This neighborhood bistro was awesome. Everybody knew what this restaurant, and I'll tell you later who the chef was, and you'll know exactly who I'm talking about.
I already know who you're talking about.
No, you don't.
I do. But anyway, go on.
Did I tell you this already?
No, but I know.
No, you don't.
I do.
Anyway, well, was he the only one that was doing stage? It's not from at the hotel.
No. Go ahead.
All right. Anyways, did a stage, we set it up, go back to Dallas. I'm like trying to line up stages, and this guy's the only guy that calls me back. Talk to the GM. We set it up. They have my resume, my cover letter, because I was so fancy. I went to Kinko's and had it
put on nice
print
paper.
out. Yeah, it was really pretty paper.
Yeah. People that are listening.
Yeah,
pretty paper.
It was pretty paper.
Yeah,
like
nice
the thick
paper.
kind.
Yeah.
And you could see like the little ribbons or whatever it was, the feathers or what is
Oh.
the paper, the lid, the whatever. And so show up, I got my chef coat on, my knife bag, and he's like, "You're gonna pick parsley, do like basically all the garnish set up." And I was like, "I worked in San Francisco for 4 years. Like, this is what you want me doing? Like, I'm free labor now."
Yeah.
Cool, got it. And I worked on Trementier and Grill Station at this restaurant. Okay, cool.
Right.
And it's all on my resume. So then service is starting. Everyone had family meal. Everyone's taking their breaks. Service is starting. And I'm excited, like, because he's got me with the guy on the grill, right?
Yeah.
He comes over, sets a blue strip of tape down, like where the grill is and where the outside of the line is, and says, "You stand on this side of the line." And I was like, "To stage?" He's like, "Yes, you're going to watch him." And I said, "Are we going to switch at some point?" And I wasn't like that casual. I was just like genuinely wanting to know, like, what the hell am I doing here? And I'm ready. I've got my, my tongs in one hand, my spatula, because he's like picking up quail and duck breast and like all these really delicate proteins, right? The guy's getting hammered. Like he's going down. He's burning the fucking quail. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm terrified of this chef who's telling me no.
Yeah.
And at one point I do lean over and I just kind of like flipped it, and he's like, "Get the fuck back on the line." And I was like, I'm done. Okay, this is enough. And so
did you leave right then and there?
I didn't, which was stupid. I should have, because I would today. But we finished up, and we're wrapping up and everything, and the guy's like, "You did a really good job. Like, no one's ever done that. You did a really good job. He's gonna call you back." And I was like, "Oh, the fuck that he doesn't. Like, the hell?" So whatever, we go. They called me back and they asked me if I wanted to come work. That I had an excellent stage, and I was so confused about the whole thing. And I was like, was it just a test? Like, did he want to see if I was gonna? Like,
maybe kitchens were like that though.
That's so sadistic. I was like, no, I'm good. And I ended up working somewhere else, and I learned much more at this other place. It wasn't a well-known chef. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a big company, but I learned so much more, and I was able to rise through the company and help open restaurants and work at 2-3 other spots. And, I think back on it now when we were talking about where you're going to stage, who you're going to pick the chef that you feel is going to help you and mentor you, and not like these name brand chefs that are not going to have time for you, Yeah, I can't wait to tell you who that chef was. I know you know who it is.
I already know who it is. I already know. You don't even tell me. I already know him.
Yeah.
Or her.
Well,
him.
they're not open anymore.
Going back to what we were talking about, when you're trying to build yourself as a brand, because in today's world, every chef is a brand. Every single chef is a brand, whatever they're putting out on social media, whatever they're putting out on the plate, their food, everything. Every chef is a brand. How do you stay true to your brand, and how do you begin to develop it?
I think for me, it's been super important because there came a point in my career where I've got pulled in so many different directions. And this is going to sound super cheesy, but my roots are my family. My mother, my dad, where they're from, where they were born, has a lot to do with my upbringing and like how I was raised and how I cook today. Same thing with my husband. And I think it's important to kind of look back at that and stay true to that. Because when I decided to be a chef, the first thing I said to my mom when we were pulling out of the driveway, she says, Mija, I don't care what you do. When you go to that school, when you graduate, when you come home, I don't care if you make the best tacos and enchiladas the city has to offer, but make them the best. You're going to be the best at that. And I was like, I'm going to make French food. I'm going to do continental. I'm going to have parsley and shit. Like, you know, and then next thing you know, I'm opening up a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
So I think when I was hit with all these different options to do what it is I thought I wanted to do, I just looked inside. Again, so cheesy, but it was just so important for me to stay true to who I was and not confuse people. There's no confusion. If you know me, you know exactly who I am, whether it's food, politics, family, values, ethics. There's no confusion. And I don't want to muddle it with because I want to follow a trend or, you know, I need to, you know, have business a busy Monday or a busy Tuesday. I think it's important to stay true to who you are in anything that you do, not just cooking.
What tools would you tell like a young cook or someone that's trying to really find their voice to leverage their brand? Like obviously social media is one.
Absolutely.
But what else? I mean, or should they be going to every food event? Like, what are some things like best practices that a chef needs to do to stay on the radar?
Align yourself with other like-minded chefs. For me, it's so important to support other chefs in the industry. Some of my best friends are chefs, female chefs that own restaurants as well. I think it's important to align yourself with a group of either cooks or chefs that are equally as ambitious and kind of want the same things as you. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean want a Michelin star or want, you know, James Beard Awards or want even their own restaurant, but they want the same things, the same goals to succeed, to, you know, be really good at brunoise or, you know, really good at basting, you know,
a duck breast.
Yeah,
or
you know,
quail.
Align yourself with like-minded people. I don't think enough chefs support each other.
Why do you think that is? I'll tell you
I
what.
think it's ego.
Chefs a lot of times are like fucking haters.
It's ego. Yeah, it's ego and haters.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to support other chefs and other restaurants. My husband and I go out to eat as often as we can. If there's an event, we try to make it. It's hard with our schedules, but it's really important for us to be out and be local and be seen so that they know that we support them and hopefully they will support us in return.
What about like networking? So I know network is important.
Yeah.
How do you guide a young chef right now that's like, I just know the people that I work with? How would you encourage them to expand their network?
Go eat at the bar.
Yeah,
Go to the bar, meet the bartender. Not at like your local pub where you're just going to get shit-faced. I mean, like, go to a nice restaurant, make a reservation, sit at the bar, order an app, have a drink, and talk up the manager, talk up the bartender, network.
Yeah.
You know, just meet people.
You know, part of the reason why I started this podcast, I enjoyed talking to chefs, and I wanted to start helping young chefs to get into the conversation because a lot of people don't have access to you, me, whoever's on the show. Like, let's let them hear how chefs really talk, humanize them a little bit, realize that we have way more in common than we realize. And I remember years ago, one of my sous chefs got mad at me because you kind of know this too. Like, you've hung out with me outside of work. Like, sometimes I want to talk about everything but cooking. And I just want to tell jokes and talk shit. And I remember one of my sous chefs was getting mad. It's like, all you want to do is tell jokes and talk shit. You don't even like talk about food. And they're like, now all I do is talk about food and shit stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think people realize, like, sometimes, like, when you're connecting with other chefs outside of work, I think one of the best things you could do if you're a young chef and you find yourself in that group of older chefs, realize that the conversation might not be about how to brunoise perfectly. It's probably a whole bunch but still listen.
Yeah.
Still listen, because you're going to realize that these are human beings too.
Yeah.
They have other interests outside of just whatever's on the plate or their
Don't make it
restaurant.
your personality.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't make it your personality.
I had a problem where for years I couldn't have a conversation with anyone unless it was about like food and industry stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually I had to break that because I was like, there's more to me than just.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us do when we're like really young
Yeah.
and like developing our kind of our culture and what we're going to do and who we're going to be. We're figuring it out, and they spit you out into this world and you have to figure out how to brunoise. I'm so stuck on that because that guy was such an asshole to me about my brunoise. He took my knife pan and dumped it out and was like, you cut this with the back of your knife? Hey, chef, look, she cut it with the bat. I'm like,
Is that the
bro,
Scotch?
it took me an hour. Like, yes, it took me an hour to do that.
That's the brunoise shit test, though. Yeah. Like they were like, it's like the brunoise shit test. A lot of restaurants do that. Like you're staging, throw away their brunoise 3 times and see how they take it. Mm-hmm. Like it might not even be bad. It's just to see how you react.
Yeah. Yeah. I was cool. I mean, still am, whatever. But 20 years later, I'm still thinking about it. Yeah. I'll never do it again. I know exactly how to do brunoise now in under an hour.
What sort of things do you think a young new chef needs to hear today when they're getting into the industry that no one's really told them? Like, this is the young you advice. What you wish someone told you, not like how to brunoise better, not how to cook better, but like, this is what the industry is, and you should hear this from me before you commit your entire life to it.
You don't have to go to the bar every night.
Yeah.
Don't go to the bar with your crew every night. Don't go every weekend. Stay home, study, go buy the potatoes, help learn how to dice the potatoes, practice, go buy books. I never bought enough books. When I was on campus at CIA, that's my biggest regret. We had an amazing library, and I rarely spent time in that library, and I regret it now. I have over 300 cookbooks now combined with my husband, and we do light reading every few days. But I regret that now. Spend money on your skills, your knife sets, your books. 1 weekend at the bar, you can buy a couple of books, and I did a lot of that. I did a lot of partying in San Francisco. And I wish I had spent more time, honing my craft. So I think that's the advice I would give is, stay, focused. Stay focused.
Usually when we wrap it up, as we're wrapping it up, I usually ask a couple of questions. Like if you had a Mount Rushmore, the 4 greatest chefs, in your opinion, to you, that influenced you, and they could be people that you worked with or just people that you respect.
I already know exactly.
Maybe you admired them from afar.
Yeah.
Besides me, who else is on that list?
Patricia Quintana.
Who's that?
Patricia Quintana is a Mexican chef. She's passed away. Marta Ortiz, the chef of Dulce Patria and Filigrana. Daniela Soto Inez, who everyone knows and loves. And my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. And if you had a chef's PSA out there, like some advice to give, like stop doing this every day in the kitchen or start doing this, what's your advice?
Take your gloves off. So gross. Gross. I'm so sick of seeing people with gloves on that aren't touching like raw food. It's a thing of mine. Like I think it's so gross. Change your gloves often. Don't wipe your gloves on your towel. You're an apron guy in the bathroom. I'm a like where you don't like no you do it.
For people this day,
you don't like it when people go to the bathroom with their apron, which it's gross. But I don't like it when people wear gloves constantly and don't change them out.
You ever see these grill cooks that have gloves on when they're working the grill and their hands are so sweaty, like they're drippy at the fingertips?
Oh God!
You know what I'm talking about? Their hands are sweating through the gloves, and
I can't.
It's like they have water balloons at the tips of their fingers.
I can't. That's so gross. That's.
Where can people find you?
On socials. Instagram, Chef AQ Pittman on Instagram, TikTok. I love TikTok.
Yeah.
If it's still here,
it'll be here. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do face. It's there because I have tias and uncles and primos.
It's the worst. Facebook's fucking
I don't
terrible.
interact, Yeah,
if people are following me on Facebook for following AQ on don't ever DM. No one's going to I'm
not going to respond.
I log in once a day to post, and then I don't log in until the next day.
Yeah. No, but I'm pretty active on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, Chef.
It's good to see you.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show. You know what to do. Make sure you leave 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify or anywhere, really. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. I've completely revamped the Chef's PSA store, shop.chefspsa.com. My team added a ton of new items. I advise you to go check it out. Just peruse, look around. Maybe you see something nice that you like. Keep supporting the show. Go to chefspsa.com. You get books, obviously the merch, early access to episodes on Substack and Spotify for premium members. We'll see you next week. Hit the porno music.
Yo, it's André in the kitchen, mixing, dropping chef knowledge, no fiction, stirring up the beats, heating up the session. Listen close, class is in session.